Welcome to Shaken Not Stirred. Today's episode is all about suicidal thoughts. I had the pleasure of interviewing someone whom I've been delighted to work with for the past few years. Please stay tuned to break down a lot of the shameful silence around suicide and actually just have a real conversation. Welcome, Jeff. I'm glad you're here today.
Thanks so much. I'm really grateful for this opportunity.
Would you mind sharing just a little bit about yourself and when these thoughts sort of came on the scene?
I was about 15 years old, and that's when I started to have a lot of symptoms of obsessive compulsive disorder, which went undiagnosed for a long time. And I would kind of just go to therapy for depression, never really figure out what was going on. And that was a big factor in feeling suicidal back then. Just feeling like I didn't know what was wrong with my mind,
Mm.
feeling like all the aspirations and dreams, feeling like that was just gone completely. And, I would get better for a while or a long time or a few years, and then it would come back. For me, it was one of the most difficult aspects of all of it. It felt as if it was so much more discouraging each time I relapsed. The cycle of being depressed and being very tied into my OCD symptoms, it was as if those were the hell moments of my life. And it would cycle. I would be great and feel okay for a couple years and then have a really hard year, or I'd have a few good years and then have a really hard few months. And so in the past, that's how it was. And that's actually how it continues to be. I still cycle and I still do experience suicidal thinking and suicidal thoughts. But I think the biggest difference these days is that I'm okay with it and I understand that it's not my fault. It's actually just part of my life and that I'm grateful for my life.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for being so vulnerable and willing to share your story. I think that there's a lot of shame that exists around the topic of suicide, and it keeps people from talking about it. If we can't have an open dialogue about it, how can we really get to this understanding? That very first piece was learning to understand your mind, and this being a part of your thought process and learning not to judge it.
That has lately been the key factor in my healing. And I did not have that in the past. I only saw those rough moments as shameful without realizing that I was viewing it such. But the more objective view that I have lately of my life has helped immensely with my suicidal thoughts. It's helped so much just to go easier on myself. And you're absolutely right that it helps to share with other people. I felt so alone for more than half my life dealing with this and never met someone in person who ever would talk about ever feeling suicidal. So that's what makes me really grateful these days is that I love talking to people about it. And I love being able to tell them that I have truly experienced it and I know what it's like. Maybe not specifically for them, but that at least I have been in my own dark spots. And it's just been a very nice opportunity to live in a way that I am not ashamed of experiencing that, and that I can also help other people understand that it's never anyone's fault. It gets to be a part of our lives for whatever reason. I don't ever pretend to have reasons that we have to struggle with that, but it feels so good to know that there are other people who understand what I've been through and who support me and who honor me and that I can honor them.
That's so beautiful that you've been able to take something that's so heavy and really awful. I can hear a lot of gratitude for,
Yeah, that's something I never thought I'd be able to say. And
yeah.
that's part of the way I coped before. I
Hmm.
viewed it as a fight for survival in the sense that the farther away I stay from these deep feelings, the safer I will be. And it just made me actually turn it into a good versus bad. And so I would always just view those moments as bad. And so, yeah, flipping it on its head and just realizing that I am actually honored to have experienced suicidal thoughts, and I'm honored to still continually experience them at least occasionally.
So when you say that you're honored, can you tell me a little bit more about that? For, maybe for that person that's still really filled with shame.
I know that for sure this last cycle, what helped me the most is meeting with you as my therapist. A lot of the work I did inside myself to get rid of the shame and get rid of the judgment, allow myself to live my life how it's meant to be, which doesn't mean in a specific way. It means the opposite for me, at least. It means just to be able to say I'm alive today and hopefully I'll be alive tomorrow. What has made the difference is being able to open up my mind to a non-judgmental view of things. A lot of these things that I never thought I would be interested in and that I never thought I'd find value in, like meditation, a lot of inner spiritual work, and learning from a lot of different sources of truth. Those things have helped me. The foundational things this last go around that has helped me
Hmm.
become grateful for my life, which includes everything, including suicidal thinking.
Hmm. So would you say that it's more about your way of being in the world, even more so than like the things that you're doing?
Yes, that's exactly how I would describe it.
Hmm.
It's not something I think through as much as I feel through. And it is a change of lifestyle and it's a change of priorities
Hmm.
and it's a change of choices that I make. And it's even gets down to a change of language and the way I express my feelings and noticing how much I would complain before about things which is neither good or bad, but just noticing that it's not helpful for me to be like that. And yeah, and also understanding that I know what's best for me ultimately. And it is a practice. I had to adjust my way of thinking about everything.
Hmm.
It was certainly helpful to me.
Hmm. Wondering if you'd be willing to share some of the lifestyle changes that you had to put into place in order to have that way of being that is more easeful and just calm.
Yeah, for me specifically,
Mhm.
it included quitting my job, which was stressful to me, which was a good job that many people saw as a very beneficial aspect of my life, paid very well. It had full benefits. It had a lot of room for growth. That was a big thing that I had the opportunity to let go of. It was something that helped me personally so much. Another lifestyle change has been to try and focus more on what I put into my body and the exercise that I do. A lot of that has to do with trying to foster a sense of optimism. Whereas before, I would only notice how much I had not exercised, how much bad food I was eating. A big change has been to just go easier on myself and to just notice the good in me, setting boundaries with in my relationships with other people, especially my family members. So understanding that if I do not feel very supported, then I choose to not participate as much as I used to in those relationships. Also, having to practice how I say things when people ask about these changes, that's been a huge opportunity, is to practice matching what I say with how I feel and how I've chosen to live. All these things are very different ways of living than I used to have.
Mm.
And also for me, this might not be for everyone, as are all of these, but I'm changing from a religious point of view where I was part of an organized religion to a spiritual point of view where I view myself as a being who is very spiritual and open to truth and love, but not in an organized way at all.
Mhm.
That's been another thing that has helped me a lot.
Mhm. Well, I'm so grateful that you're feeling really supported and powerful so that when those thoughts do creep in, and they still do.
So yeah, they still do, and I welcome them, and I give them their space. For whatever reason, they are a part of me, and I will respect that. A lot of the catalyst for my change was feeling so terrible and just letting my soul tell me in that manner that what I was doing wasn't working for me. So yeah.
It sounds like you've allowed something that we could keep it in the realm of disorder, and you've managed to unlock something really beautiful, seeing the spiritual benefit in this thing that really many people see as just an affliction.
That's true. It's been a very nice change to be able to truly feel that and not to just try and make myself feel that. Switch from it being an affliction to it being part of me, and to feel gratitude for myself, which includes all parts of me.
So, is there anything that you would want to share to that person who might be watching who's feeling really in it?
No matter what spot you're in, you are worth so much, and you're worth everything no matter what happens. And but I think what I would have loved to hear in those dark times is that you don't have to worry about what you choose to do or not do, if you even get better or don't. Either way, you are infinitely worth everything that you stand for. Yeah.
Well, that's just beautiful. It got me a little choked up. Thank you so much, Jeff, for being willing to share. Like you said, this is just part of a vast many things that makes you the person that you are, and you are so valuable. It's such an honor to work with you and be someone who can offer an outlet so that you can share your story, Jeff, because you are a powerful individual.
You too. Thanks so much.
Okay. I have a strong belief that the more we talk about things that our culture has deemed shameful, suicide, substance use, mental illness, the less shame that they'll hold. Please, please, if you're feeling suicidal, reach out to someone who knows your heart. And if you feel like nobody does, reach out to a crisis line and know that you are so worth living this beautiful life. If suicidal thoughts are part of your norm, it is highly, highly recommended that you reach out and find a therapist. I'm available for personal sessions. There are many therapists available, all doing telehealth sessions, and it's so, so worth it. You taking care of your mental health is really the most important thing. So please don't be shy. Please know you're not alone, and make your mind a kinder place to live. Thank you so much for sharing, for subscribing, for being.